Do y'all ever do something that's like really, really stupid, like dumb, like Cosmo from Fairly Odd Parents, dumb, like Peter Griffin, dumb, like Donald Trump, I'm playing, not a political channel, even though I don't like him. But yeah, I'm talking like a situation where it goes against all your education, your better judgments, and you just kind of prepare for failure because you know it's not a good idea, but you're gonna do it anyway. Like you really know, like you know better, but for some reason you're so drawn to something that you have to do the thing regardless of your inevitable failure. But for some reason that ends up being the best decision you could have ever made. Yeah, I'm talking about one of those situations. Hey, what's up you guys? Talentscowt back with another video. Today is gonna be a bit more unscripted because I don't know how many times I've told this story. Yeah, it's coming from personal experience. I'm not too far removed, it's semi-recent. It happened November 2016, so it's like 3 years ago. Not super recent, but I still know. Here's a little bit of background about me so you can understand why this was so out of character. Like, I probably wouldn't do it again. I'm kind of lying. I would, but like, I shouldn't. Like, given what I was taught and what I actually believe in my heart, I shouldn't do this, even though I totally would and have done it again. So first, I had a mom that was a teacher and a dad that's an ex-cop and ex-Marine staff sergeant. Yeah, I had a very strict upbringing. There was no getting anything by them. They were young, 20-year-old parents that were very type A themselves. One, my dad was a pretty bad kid, so he knew all the bad kid things, couldn't do anything by him. He was also a cop, so he dealt with troubled youth on a normal basis, so he knew all the tricks. Like, my dad was pretty bad. Like, I have seen the notes that the teachers wrote home about him. He was not a good kid, but I love the man. My mom, she's a teacher. She deals with kids every day. Like, that's her job. Her job is to expand the minds of young folk and to be prepared and watching out for all the nonsense they will try to pull. I mean, I was full of my own nonsense. Like, I planked the Great Wall of China back when planking was cool. But my mom wasn't there in China with me, so of course I got away with it. Starting around like 6 years old, my dad would wake me up really, really early on Saturdays to have me do tasks that didn't really need to be done, just to teach me about working through things and work ethic and, you know, the value of hard work and yada, yada, yada. So it gave me a really good work ethic. It also taught me that I don't like manual labor, so that's kind of why I chose tech as a career. So yeah, I can work through things. I'm just not gonna work with my hands. That's not my style unless I really need to do it. I really have to want or get paid really, really well to do manual labor, but I did get the work ethic from it, so thank you, Pops. I really appreciate that. My mom, she started teaching and preaching about follow through and planning ahead around the same time, probably a little earlier, around like 4 to 5. Like, teach me about, like, you know, thinking ahead, like, what am I gonna do? Like, what's my plan? Like, I didn't have a plan. Like, I wanted to be a Power Ranger when I grew up. And I do appreciate, she never destroyed my imagination. She never said I couldn't be a Power Ranger. She made me have a plan on how I was gonna get there. And that's kind of what changed my own career goal, because when I started, like, you know, having my little 4-year-old brain turn, like, oh, I don't actually know how I can do that. So I was like, thank you, Mom, for letting me come to my own conclusions instead of you shutting them down. That really, like, let my creativity grow and continue as I got older. She was a real one for that. Yeah, really big on following through on tasks. It's like, you will follow through. If you've committed to a thing, you will push through. And planning, obviously, you know, life happens, things change. You have to pivot, but you cannot go in blind because, you know, failing to plan is planning to fail. So yeah, not planning ahead and not having a work ethic was very taboo in the Godfrey household. That was just not okay. We didn't play that game, so I didn't even try. Because I was like, it's not even worth my time to try to fight them on this one. They're not going to give up. Because I knew who I was as a kid. Because like I'm a really, really stubborn person at heart. Like, a lot of people say that, but I'm one of those, like, if I really believe in something, I will legitimately die before you conform me. I've never had to deal with peer pressure. Example, fun story my mom and dad used to like telling me is when I was like 1 year old, they wouldn't give me what I wanted to eat exactly. I was really big into corn. I only wanted corn. Don't talk to me about nothing else. So, you know, you have to give a baby a balanced diet. I went on a hunger strike at 1 because I was like, I want my corn. So I'm literally a 1-year-old, can't even talk yet. It's like, I'll die before he change me. My mom, yeah, when I'm talking planning, I'm talking planning. So she and a group of her friends, also all Black teacher moms, formed an all Black boy book club that I was a part of. That's how I met a few of my best friends. One of the units they had was teaching a bunch of 12 and 13-year-olds how to invest. Yeah, who does that? Like my mom and her friends, they are all superstars. Like who really takes the time to teach these little boys how to invest? Real talk, that changed the entire trajectory of my life. Because when I first learned about that, I'm like, wait a second. So by making a smart decision, I can just make money without having to go do a thing? And I was like, yes. I'm like, well, why doesn't everyone do this? I was like, because they don't know. I was like, well, more people need to know because this is amazing, which led to things in college. Like, I was able to afford going to like Hawaii on a whim because it's like, I'd just be sitting in class. I go, I need $1,000. I would just literally make the money in class. But that was later. Let's go back a little bit to when I was 18. That's when I first got on the Robinhood waiting list. It's like, oh, I can finally trade for myself. Because my mom, really good mothering right here. She started like a mutual fund for me and I got to like, contribute some of my allowance and watch it grow over time. So a few years, like a few $1,000, it was pretty cool. But I'd been doing my research. So I was waiting for I was 18 so I can do it myself. And that's right around when Robinhood got a little bit of steam. It wasn't even out yet. It was still waiting list time. So I hop on Robinhood's waiting list as soon as my 18th birthday, like literally like around midnight. A few days later, I'm in. So I started trading away, really developing my strategies, learning some stuff. So let's fast forward a little bit. So I turned 18 in 2014. Let's fast forward to 2016, November to be exact. I'm not quite 21 yet. I'm 20 years old. So I learned a lot of things about financial markets, never use emotions when trading, always have a plan, don't do risky things, never put all your money in a basket, yada, yada, yada. So I decided to ignore all of that and risk every single cent that I had. So around that time, I had about $8,500. And what did I decide to invest it in? A penny stock I found on Reddit. Power moves only. The stock ticker is called DRYS, Dry Shipping Company. They specialize in moving a bunch of bulk goods, assuming between China and the US. I don't actually remember, it's been a couple of years. Did some research on them. They had nearly gone bankrupt like 5 or 6 different times, a bunch of like stock buybacks and yada, 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 stock splits, this, that, and the other. So in all honesty, they're not a good company. Like they were literally classified as a penny stock at that point. But on r/Wall Street Bets, dry shipping was right there on the top movers list of the week. It had gone up about 180% so far that week. And I was like, whoa, that is crazy. I'm like, okay, what's causing that? So I do some more research. I determined it was most likely to be a pump and dump. Pump and dumps is basically the prices artificially inflated because people with a lot of money threw money into the stock, which, makes the level up higher. They're waiting for more people to discover, to throw their money in, to pull their money out, leaving the people that come in late with nothing because all the people that sold are the ones that get the money. What I didn't think about was that by the time that I discovered it on Reddit, it was probably too late. And that once I threw some money in there, it most likely would be at the dump part. So if I threw money in, I would lose it. I didn't really think about that. I had some information, but I was still new to this. So I made the executive decision to throw everything I had and some that I didn't have at this stock. I know I'm a financial wizard. At the time I had about like $8,500 in my Robinhood portfolio. So okay, I'm gonna throw that. So then I had $500 like in a Wells Fargo account, sent that. I was like, okay, that's around $9,000. I want to invest $10,000. So I was like, I can always just use Robinhood Instant. So what Robinhood Instant does, it's like, okay, so normally when you transfer money out of your bank into like a brokerage, it takes a few days for it to do the bank transfer, like 2 to 3 business days. But Robinhood Instant makes up to $1,000 of funds instantly available for trading. So it's like, oh, I can just send that money over right now. So yeah, I only had about like $200 in my Chase account when I did that. So I would have overdrafted by about $800. I was like, that's a later problem. Not gonna worry about it. So I get my Robinhood account to around $10,000 and I throw all of it at this perpetually going bankrupt shipping company. I'm telling you, I'm really good at this stuff. So you're probably already assuming the outcome. There was a dump. I lost $10,000. I got overdrafted and it took a few of my next paychecks to pay it off, and I learned a valuable lesson. And you'd be right if you weren't wrong. The exact opposite happened. The stock skyrocketed. It ended up around 2,000% up for the week. So I was only in my position for 2 days. Yeah, that 10,000 bucks became $86,000. I was freaking out. So not only did I take a risk that you totally should not do, it worked. I'm like, oh my gosh. And second, I had never had that kind of money before. Like, I had never just had $86,000. I'm just like, okay. So I did what every young 20-year-old guy would want to do. I can buy a Maserati right now, today. I went to school in Monterey Bay. There was a Maserati dealership right there, like a 15-minute drive away. I was ready to trade in my Civi and grab me a Mazzy, go over to Sunglass Hut, walk out with some gunmetal frames and a big old Versace logo on the side. I was gonna be flexing. But then I realized, Terrence, that's stupid. So I decided to speak to my counsel of one, Mr. Matt. He saved me from making a very stupid decision. I talked to him because he was more used to having money available. He was really, really good at saving and whatnot. So yeah, he really talked me out of that whole idea, and I felt safer and more comfortable having money. Yeah, I understood the concepts before, but I never had it before. And it's so different once things become real. Like, it's like being in school versus being in the real world. It's so much more pressure and responsibility when you're actually doing the thing. But after that conversation, I remembered something. My bank account's gonna overdraw in a couple days. And I'm not sure how overdraws work on a bank, but I'm pretty sure if your account stays overdrawn, it just keeps accruing more overdraft fees. And at $35 a day, that's really expensive. Like, that's a couple $100 a week. And I was like, I'm not getting paid for over a week. And my newfound money, it's not gonna settle into my brokerage account for 3 days, and it's gonna be another 3 days before I can withdraw it out into my bank account. So either way, I'm kind of screwed. So I did what any responsible 20-year-old would do when faced with financial crisis. I went to bed. No, really, that was it. I just went to bed. Next morning, I woke up, did my normal ritual, laying there for like 45 minutes scrolling through Twitter until I saw something from one of my favorite YouTubers, MKBHD. He quote tweeted about a thing called the Snapchat Spectacles, like their new vending machine location. It happened to be in Big Sur. I was like, oh, cool. I didn't know what a Snapchat Spectacle was because it was new, like just earlier that week it was announced the world knew. I tend to be up like on my tech. It was the middle of the semester, like I guess I'd fallen off a little bit. I did some research, but Snapchat has their first physical product. You probably know about it by now, it's been like 3 years. It was like, yeah, the glasses connect directly to Snapchat. They were only available from the vending machines around the country. So the first spot ever was down in Santa Monica. The second one was Big Sur of all places. And then I saw the photo, I'm like, I know exactly where in Big Sur that is. I know the diner, been there before. I did some more research, I'm like, wait a second. Wait, there's only been 100 released so far. So I had to check out the resale market. So I typed in hashtag spectacles on Twitter. People freaking out about them, talking about how the resale value is ridiculous. I hop on eBay and I'm seeing these things selling for like $1,000 plus, people actually buying them. So then I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna have to pay for my consequences. This is dope. So I got up and just drove to Big Sur. I found the location, stood in line, saw a few people, got lucky. I was able to get 2 out of the vending machine. That was a limit. One of the heads of marketing from Snapchat was over there monitoring the event with a DJI Phantom 4. That's actually what sparked my interest in drones and led to my drone business later, but that's another story. Yeah, so when I was walking away, I was like, oh my God, I spent $129 each, but these are selling for over like $1,000, at least at the time, because supply and demand, the more that enter the market, the less they're worth. I posted them on Twitter, also posted them on Instagram. My DMs were blowing up. I had never received like that kind of like social media like attention before, because like these were big at the moment. People offering like $700,000, $900,000 plus to get their hands on these. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm just like, whoa, I really just struck a gold mine. Like, this shouldn't have worked out. Like, that's when I realized everything was gonna be fine. So I took one pair out and I had to start flexing on them. So I was like, yeah, I've got 2 of the only 300 on the planet. So I'm walking around campus with like, what are those? You know, that's back when that meme still mattered. But yeah, I talked about it, let people know how I got my hands on them. I tossed them both on eBay. They sold within 5 hours. I profited like 1,600 bucks off of that. I got the money to my account before the overdraft would have happened. And that whole ordeal of irresponsibility, I made about $77,000 profit. So I'm gonna call it like how I made 80,000 bucks in 2 days or something like that. Like, it really changed the trajectory of my life. Like, I grew my investment accounts like 300-400 before I started moving it over to crypto in 2017. Like, this one decision that I would never recommend anyone ever do changed the entire trajectory of my life. I mean, not really. Like, I've got a couple cool, nice toys, but like, I'm not just like out here flexing or nothing. Like, I still drive the same Civic and I rent a room in Hayward. Like, I work in tech and SF now. Yeah, could I get like a place to myself, but I'm not going to for a little while because I like to be frugal, yada, yada, yada. I want to have more cash flow. But anyway, like, I have more options and opportunities now. And now I can be one of those like low-key millionaires or whatever, thanks to making a reckless decision a couple years ago. And I want all my videos to have a lesson at the end. So something to think about. None of us are gonna make it out of this world alive. So just shoot the shot and do the thing. Sometimes going against all your knowledge and your plan might be a good idea. I mean, it's not a good idea, it's a bad idea, but it might work out for you. It's pretty cliche, but taking a leap of faith can really change the entire trajectory of your future. Because we're always taught to do like the safe and stable thing, but safe and stable tends to have the least amount of result. Like, do safe and stable to build yourself like a foundation, so when you do fall for when you go for that big thing, you don't have to fall as far. Now, don't take this as a reason to not plan to do something completely reckless. Now, this doesn't apply for things like going on a vacation just for the sake of going on a vacation when you don't have any money, unless you really believe there's an opportunity out there. Because if the opportunity is just like, oh, I want to experience, I don't know if that's a valid reason. At least for me, it isn't. Maybe it is for you. But shoot, I don't know. I'm just a guy out here, man. I hope you guys like this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe. It would really help out the channel and help keep me motivated to keep making content and talk about more things in the future. And if you have any feedback for me, please drop it below. I hope to make these more interactive and do more like cinematic things in these videos. I just don't have the tools at the moment. I got something cool for it that's on the way. Well, it's technically not released, but I want to make more interactive content. And leave below what you'd like to see. And if it's something that's within my realm of expertise, I am more than happy to talk about it. But until then, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.